Thank you. All right, everybody, welcome to the November 15th, 2022 meeting of the Community Recovery Fund Advisory Committee meeting. I'm going to make a few comments to get us started. And then if anybody else needs to say anything, and then we're going to move as quickly as we can towards the voting section of the meeting and get as far as we can today. So yesterday was a pretty rocky start to our voting sessions. And so I'm hoping we're considering today a reboot, start again, see if we can work better as a committee today. I want to talk about the voting process a little bit. This is my proposal. I don't think any of this should be controversial. I was just thinking through a little bit of the mechanics of how we will be voting. And so each motion will be basically the same, with the exception of which application we're plugging in. So I would phrase it as, should application ABC advance to the next round of consideration for funding? So that's the thing we'll be voting on for each one. And we'll just keep plugging in the name of the next one. Normally, in my opinion, and in Robert's opinion, Robert's rules, the chair usually doesn't make motions, but just for ease of process today, I am gonna move each one. Okay, I don't think that should be a big deal. If anyone feels otherwise, let me know. And then, the clerks assured me that it doesn't matter who seconds it, but I wanted to ask if you would allow for just the ease of speed today to have one person just second every single one of them. And that way we don't have to record that.
I'd be happy.
Okay. I was wondering if, I appreciate that, Deborah. I'm wondering if Lee, if you might be willing to do it as vice chair. It doesn't really matter, but if you're not comfortable with that, that's fine. Yeah, that is fine. That is fine. That is absolutely fine. Yes, this is just a mechanical thing. And you sure you're okay?
Yes.
Okay, same here. I want to vote against 80%. That's my goal. Okay. And then we will do a roll call, and I will call the roll, and I'll try to do what I did yesterday, just kind of keep going back and forth in each direction.
May I ask at
Yes,
what
of course.
point, if we wish to see this advance, but we would perhaps give the minimum rather than the full amount, when do we mention that?
Right. So I thought about that quite a bit, and I think we need to do it afterwards. So I'm going to call them partials. Okay. So after the vote is done, just raise your hand and shout out partial, something like that.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because and tell me what you think about this. If a particular application gets 5 no's and 1 yes, then if we said partial at the beginning, we started discussing it, but it gets 5 no's and 1 yes, there's no point in doing that. It's not going to advance anyway. That's why I thought we should do it in that order.
Can you explain the partial thing again? I didn't get that. Maybe I missed part of that.
That's no problem. So, we have the ability to partially fund some of these applications. And if we stopped and discussed that at each one, it's just going to bog us down very quickly. However, if you have identified any particular one that you think we should consider just for partial funding rather than full funding, then we're going to put that on a separate list to discuss later, to revisit later.
After the vote or before the vote or during it? I guess
After we've gone through all the lists, yeses and nos, we're gonna have different piles when we're done. We're gonna have yeses, we're gonna have nos, we're gonna have partials.
So at what point, I guess maybe I missed it. How do we figure out the partial and when do we?
After it's voted on, yes, if somebody wants to make it a partial, we'll just say partial.
And we'll make a note.
If it gets voted yes.
Yes,
Someone can
Yeah.
right.
say partial, suggest partial,
Mhm.
so that we would consider it later for partial funding. It's
Yes.
kind of tagged like that. Okay, thank you.
If it goes no, would you still consider a partial?
I mean, I don't quite see the point, but I suppose if somebody really wanted that, really wanted to bookmark that, that's fine.
Because there, in some of them, the maximum and minimums, there is a wide difference there. That was the only reason.
Yeah, I would suggest if you're interested in partially funding a particular application, vote yes. And then when the votes are tallied, just say partial, and we'll make sure we get back to that later. That would be my suggestion. Does that,
That's fine.
I also, oh, go ahead, John.
Just wondered if at this point you wanted me to just note if they were subject to environmental review?
Yes, that
Just so
also
that
is,
you know that.
that's
Okay.
another pile. Thank
Thank
you. Mhm. I appreciate it. Keep us on that track.
I am here.
I've also asked the clerks to, they can't do it today, sometime later this week perhaps, they're going to tally all our votes, which one got 6 yeses, which one got 5 yeses, 4 yeses, 3 yeses, 2 yeses. So that's a way we can at least look at that information later and do what we want with it. We'll have it. We don't have to use it. It may help us on our second round of sorting. It may not. They can't do that in real time though. How do people feel about that? Go ahead,
So
Ann.
are we going to do a roll call? How are they gonna?
Yes, we're going to
Okay.
roll call
So
each
they can
one.
go back and look at the video or something like that.
They're going to be recording today.
Are you gonna record today?
They're
Okay.
recording today, but they're not going to be able to sort it out for us, for a couple more days. It's a very busy week for everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, what else did I have here? Just I'll do my math for the day. We have 211 applications. Currently have 6 hours scheduled. That comes to 1.7 minutes per vote. We may, it's very likely we'll have to add more time later on, but we'll make that decision later after we see how well we're progressing. Those are all the things that I wanted to mention today before we start in the voting process. Other comments, questions, topics? Ann?
Yeah, so we have MRB here again and I wish I had asked this yesterday as far as, asking them maybe to go first to give us, any advice. I know for myself, a question I had asked at some point was during this part of the process, was MRB going to still be here to help us go through the process and guide us through this? And I would just like to see if they have any guidance for us this morning or suggestions.
Michael, do you have anything?
We're here to support the county in any way that you deem helpful to you. We anticipate that there may be questions that you have that we can answer, or we may need to go back to applicants to answer. So anything of that nature. And we're certainly happy to comment on any application you like us to.
Thank you. That brings up another point. I raised this yesterday, and I'm going to ask your consensus on this, is that we actually don't ask questions today. If something's very small question that can easily be answered, as in, I don't know, where is this building located, or is that a 3 or an 8? I don't know. Simple questions, yes, but the bigger questions, we don't have time during the floor time today. So what I want you to do is keep track of those questions and get them answered, and I will help you get them answered. MRB will help you get them answered outside of committee time. We'll bring those questions back. And if that affects your vote as well, then that was the other category that I suggested is I just have questions. I can't vote today. That's fine too. Yep, Ann,
Yeah, I had also wanted to make a statement.
please.
So I reviewed parts of our meeting yesterday, including the presentation by MRB. And so I appreciate you sending that to us. And so what they ended with was suggesting that we keep our program priorities in the forefront of our mind. And so I am going to make sure, I know people said personal priorities they had, but to me, that ship has sailed. We had those personal priorities that people had. We talked about those and we put those together early on months ago to come up with our program priorities. And so to me, I think it's the charge of this committee to go by that. I think at the full legislature, if people are voting their personal priorities, that's a little different, but this as a subset to work on this, I think we should be held to a higher standard that we should stick more with the program priorities. And judge applicants on their merits. And so I had a little statement here. So our grant guidelines were approved by this committee and legislature. Then they were released to the public. Those guidelines, procedures, and detailed scoring criteria informed the way that applicants chose their projects and activities and wrote their applications. It informed the way MRB held their informational forms to the public and assisted people to fill out their applications. We created those guidelines so that we would use taxpayer money fairly and not base our decisions on personal subjective reasoning. Otherwise, we would not have spent so much time doing that, I believe. I'm concerned that changing these procedures this late in the program are unfair and unethical and leave us vulnerable to possible legal repercussions. The guidelines were there as much to protect us as the applicants. And I'm concerned that if we veer from our publicized and written procedure, then would it not be fair to open this back up so that applicants could reapply if we're changing the rules this late in the game? When I was yesterday, when I had said that I needed more time because we were deciding yesterday how we were going to go on with the next step, I needed that information to inform me how I look at the applications. And it really, to me, just kept hitting home as I was going through these. So if we change part of this and that changes how I'm going to proceed and participate in this next step, if we had changed something, if we're changing this, this would have maybe changed applicants on what they were going to apply for. Maybe they would, come and lobbied us more, if lobbied us individually. I asked people to stay at an arm's length because I kept telling them, I'm going to participate in this committee and I'm going to be held, didn't quite say these words, but I was going to hold myself to a different standard. I'm not coming in here representing my district, representing my organizations. And so I'm hoping as we go through this procedure that we think about that the program priorities, what we allowed, and that I would like the scoring for people to think as a major factor, the most major factor actually in going through this. And again, our program priorities, not our personal priorities. And when I say personal, I don't mean you think it's just good for you, what you think is best for the community. We already went through that. And this is what we come up with. And I think we owe it to the community to stick to that, especially at this stage in the committee, because we're charged with getting applications to the next step. And this is what we told them over and over and over again. Did we say more than once that, oh, we might differ from that?
I hate to interrupt, but we've got to keep going on. I feel like you said much of the same stuff that you're saying right now yesterday, and we understand your perspective. And here and watch the video or watch the video. We've got to keep going on. So I think we understand your perspective.
Want to make some concluding remarks?
I was finishing up. Yes, the last thing I wanted to say was that I just want us to think about, what I said and reread, if you haven't already, watch the forums. That's the information we gave to the community. And I'm going to make sure I do as ethical a job as I can. If that ruffles some feathers, I'm okay with that. Thank you.
Deborah?
I wasn't here yesterday, but I did get the tenor of the discussion, and I just want to make one comment. The program priorities are pretty broad. to me, the one that is the most important is that whatever projects we approve address long-term critical needs and identified gaps in local services. That's childcare, job training, affordable housing, broadband expansion, climate mitigation and adjustment. I mean, we're all going to have our own individual ideas about which of those things are the most important to us. And I frankly, Annie, I have listened to your position and you and I have talked, and I sent an email. We may have different ideas about what's important, but don't suggest, as you have, that if somebody doesn't view it your way, they are acting unethically. That's really crappy.
I didn't say that. And so could I respond to that?
That's the implication of what you said.
Go ahead, Ann.
It's not, I didn't say, you could say it's my way, but I'm saying I looked over and over and over. It's what we said to the community. That's not my way. That's what we did.
Okay, I would like to get to the voting. Are there any last comments before we start on that? Okay, so we are first looking at the bucket or tranche, I don't know what word you want to use, with the largest dollar figures, the one, and everyone should have a sheet on their desk. If they don't already have it, I asked for one more version of it or one more copy in case you didn't. Today's one has a little pink on it, but it's the same one we've been using, just in case you didn't have it with you or whatever. That's what I'm going off of. So everyone knows where we are and what we're about to do. Okay, let us give it a try. I'm going down right from the top of the page. The first one, just to double check, make sure we're all looking at the same thing. The first one is applicant number 130, Cuba International. Everybody's literally on the same page?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So I'm not going to say the words every time. Remember, we already said what the motion is that we're recommending they advance to the next level of review for funding. So I'd like to move applicant 130, Cuba International. Lee, would you second that? Thank you. Okay, we're ready to vote. Lee, go ahead.
Pardon me?
Ann? Yep.
You had said yesterday we could have, say, a sentence or two.
If you really need to, yep.
Yep.
Go ahead.
So I reviewed their application again last night. This is a local organization and that has a history of working with disadvantaged communities, people with disabilities, people of color, youth. So they have a strong track record in Tompkins. They are based in Tompkins County. So I just want us to consider helping us continue their mission and with agricultural focus.
Okay.
I have just a process request. Could you read the applicant and project name for each one? Just
Sure.
because some people applied for multiple projects. Thanks.
Good idea. Thank you. I would be happy to do that. So this one is applicant 130, Cuba International Cooperative Farming and International Community. Okay, ready to vote. Lee,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
I'm a no.
And I'm sorry, this one is subject to an environmental review.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
Can I shout out partial at this point?
Yeah,
Yeah.
partial.
Yep.
I'm all about partial on this.
Partial. Okay, very good. Applicant 198, Second Wind Cottages, Second Wind Campsites. Ready to vote? Deborah,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
and I'm a yes.
Partial.
Okay.
And again, this one is subject to environmental review.
Ah,
Done.
very good.
You're a real buzzkill, Joan.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good,
That's
actually.
that's why I get the big bucks. That's they tell me.
I mean, it's like the curveball we didn't see coming. It's exciting.
Would you like to know before you vote? I just
No.
leave it till you
No.
voted. Yes, because it's not really.
That's good. Okay, next up, applicant 124, Sustainable Finger Lakes, Electrify Tompkins LMI Mobile Homes. Ready to vote? Oh, Ann, go ahead.
So I did a deeper dive into this one yesterday and regarding, is it already giving grants that are already there through New York State, NYSERDA and things like that. As one of my colleagues had mentioned, maybe this was already, they stack actually those grants on top of other grants to really help make it affordable, low cost or no cost to people in mobile homes to be able to electrify. So it meets our sustainability need goals and also helps them be able to actually have more affordable housing in mobile homes.
Thank you. Ready to vote? Lee,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
and I'm a yes.
Partial, please.
Partial, there we go. Next up, applicant 187, St. John's Community Services, SJCS Sober Living Reintegration Services. Any discussion? Okay, Deborah,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
I'm a yes also. I'm just going to pause for a moment, just check with the clerks. Are we all good? Everything's okay up there? No problems? Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Just checking. Very good. Next up, 333 Greater Ithaca Activity Center, GIAC Teen and Recreation Center. Discussion. I forgot which direction, so it's Deborah,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee.
No.
I'm a yes.
Be partial for that.
Okay.
And that one is also subject to environmental review.
Ooh. Very exciting. Okay, next up, 154 Lansing Community Library. For the Lansing Community Library. Discussion. Okay, we're going to vote. Lee,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
No.
Shauna,
No.
Deborah,
Yes.
I'm a yes. Next up,
Partial for that, please.
Was that 3 and 3?
I don't know.
I'm just
Yes, it was.
trying to keep track myself. Okay.
So now what?
It just goes in a pot. It just goes in a, that does not pass. But we are going to keep track of these. We'll get back to all that. We don't know what our total is going to be. So we as a committee will decide later on how to deal with the different piles we're creating. But we have to create those piles first. That's my view. Okay. We're up to 350, Human Services Coalition of Tompkins County, Continuum of Care, Homeless Response System Improvements. Discussion. Lee,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
and I'm a yes, and I'd like to call it a partial. Number 153, Indian Creek Midwifery and Birth Center, Indian Creek Midwifery and Birth Center Project. Discussion. Shauna,
I just want to make note that on our spreadsheet here, there's no minimum requested for this application. And the project would not move forward without the full $773,000. So.
Ann?
Yeah, in reviewing that application too, I saw that the communities that they're serving, they said they're focused on LGBTQ, people of color, people with, let's see, Amish, Mennonite, so underserved populations. And also talked about COVID relief as decreasing the population in the hospital, having 4 to 6 hours where people could be out back in the community. So I just wanted to point those things out if people didn't see those.
Veronica?
Clarification question. I see the $773,000 on the scoring sheet, but in that Google Drive spreadsheet, it says 669,000, and the application itself gives a range between 669,000 and 773,000. So what does that mean? Or should we consider this as interpret this as the minimum?
Let's see if we can find out. Tracy, are you able to shed any light on this in the moment? If you're not, that's fine.
Yeah, I'll pull up their application and take a look. Last time I looked at it, it appeared that it needed the full amount, but let me just double check. So it says it won't move forward without the full amount of funding. Yeah, but they did put in a range of
Yeah, what is the
amount.
full amount?
I think the range. Yeah, the range was on their construction. So this is a matter of, they don't have complete necessarily quotes for their construction costs.
So the two numbers were because it's a range.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Ready to vote? Deborah,
No.
Shauna,
No,
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes,
Lee,
No,
and I'm a no. Applicant 250 Cayuga Medical Center number 1, Intensive Crisis Stabilization Center of Tompkins County. And I'm just going to mention that this is $1.5 million. I think it's tied, or it's just about the biggest one we've got. I think there's one bigger. Discussion.
also just to note, this also is in pink. And they would need the full amount in order to move forward with funding.
I had made a pledge that I was going to try to say nothing. I'm going to say one sentence about this. I'm definitely in favor of this thing, but I think we need to understand it more in context. And so I'm going to vote no, and I'm going to consider it from other funding sources, including the county. But for me, it's such a big decision connected to so many other things that I can't vote yes today. Any other discussion?
if it passes, perhaps that's a partial, and that's a chance to have more of a discussion.
All right, let us vote. Deborah,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
yes,
Lee.
Yes,
Okay, I'm going to vote no.
partial.
Partial, okay, good.
So can that be a partial?
Yes,
Since-
yep, it already is. Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Right, but they're asking for the full 1.5.
Well, let's just put in that category, and
Okay.
if later on we discover, no, they absolutely cannot, then we'll
Okay.
reconsider. Something like that.
I appreciate your flexibility in going through the voting process, Dan.
Yeah, thank you. Number 226, Coddington Community Center, building community at Coddington. I got to pause for a sec. Clerks, I noticed I already dropped our protocol. I've stopped saying I'm moving, I'm stopped getting seconded. Is that acceptable?
Yes, I'm recording the motions.
Okay, thank you. I realized I already dropped it. Okay. Any discussion on applicant 226? Okay, let us vote. Lee,
No,
Ann,
Yes,
Veronica,
No.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah,
No.
I'm a yes.
This one is subject to environmental review.
Hmm. Okay, number 176, Finger Lake reuse, community resilience through reuse. Any discussion? Okay, let's have a vote. Lee,
no,
Ann,
yes,
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
No.
Deborah,
No.
I'm a no. Number 358, Unity House, improving the lives of Tompkins County individuals with disabilities. Discussion. Okay, let's have a vote. Oh, go ahead, Veronica.
Oh, just to note, I see this minimum is blank, and I believe in the application, they just said any amount helps.
I see Tracy shaking her head, yes. So, okay, that's good.
if I could go retroactive, just to consider, since we had 2 votes for the Finger Lakes reuse for yes, can we just put that, add a partial statement to
Partial,
that?
yep, mhm,
Thank you.
absolutely, yep. Unity House, any other discussion? Okay, let us have a vote. Lee,
yes,
Ann,
Yes,
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah.
Yes, because any amount helps.
Okay, I'll be a yes.
And then partial.
A unanimous partial. Okay, number 123, FoodNet Meal on Wheels, FoodNet, facing forward into the future, entryway upgrades. Discussion. Ann,
in their application too, I just want to note that their roof is currently leaking into their kitchen. And this is not just helping, it's helping their office space. And if you've ever had a tour there, they're teeny little office spaces. And this is to help energy efficiency of the building, which will overall lower their costs. So I just want to point that out. Thank you.
Okay, let's have a vote. Deborah,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Anne,
Yes.
Lee.
No,
I'm a yes, partial. Number 365, West, Unbroken Promises, West End Community Hub. Just point out, this is also a large one, $1.5 million. And discussion. Anne,
I just want to say I'm going to vote no on this, and it's not because of what the project could do, but I just don't, in my thinking is they maybe don't have enough experience yet to pull off this. I think it's needed in the community, but I'm not sure this organization could do this right now.
Yeah, thanks for that, Annie. I just noticed that they got 0 on both experience and capacity under MRB's scoring. So that's good to know.
okay, ready to vote? Deborah,
No.
Shauna,
No.
Veronica,
No.
Anne,
No.
Lee,
no,
and I'm a no. Number 307, Downtown Ithaca Children's Center. Everyone can play under one roof. Discussion. Okay, Lee,
no,
Anne,
Yes.
Veronica,
No.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah,
No.
I'm a yes with a partial. Enfield, number 101, Enfield Food Distribution Food Pantry, Enfield Food Pantry Expansion Project. Discussion.
I just want to make a note here. As you stated early on yesterday, we believe in the merit of all of these applications. But you will find me voting no on almost all of these that involve any construction. And it's something I hope we can come back to, knowing that our nonprofits need structural help, but not under this program.
Thank you, Lee. I actually did want to repeat that from yesterday, but I just lost in my sea of papers here that we all agreed that, yes, just what you said, these are all good projects. We wish we could fund them all. We must cut 80% of them, so.
We've got a lot of facilities in here that where it would help, including the previous one voted on for FoodNet, very near and dear to me. But if I start voting yes on projects involving construction, it's going to be worn out pretty quick.
Yes.
Can
And
I-
this may be the single largest project, if I'm not mistaken, 1.6 million. Go ahead.
I think I would make a distinction between repairing existing facilities, which is the case with FoodNet, and expanding and building more, which I can see your point.
I'll keep that in mind.
Okay.
I'll remain open-minded. Thank you.
Any further discussion on this one? Okay, let us have a vote. Deborah,
Yes.
Shauna,
No.
Veronica,
No.
Anne,
Yes.
Lee,
No,
and I'm a no.
And even though I just want to say partial,
That's
so we
fine.
can look at it later.
Absolutely.
Then I will note that this one's subject to environmental review.
Oh, I think the seeker stuff is fun.
Me too.
You haven't done a lot of
I don't see them.
short form EAFs, yeah.
Good point. Okay, number 203, Girl Scouts of Naipen Pathways, Camp Comstock Multi-Use Building. Discussion. Okay, let's have a vote. Lee,
of course you start with me. No,
I can start the other way if you want.
no,
I can start in the middle too, but I might have trouble keeping track of that. So Lee's a no. Anne,
Yes.
Veronica,
No.
Shauna.
No.
Deborah,
No.
and I'm a no. Number 260, BJM Families Together, All Abilities Playground. Discussion. Anne.
Yes.
I know. Veronica,
No.
Shauna?
No.
Deborah?
No.
I'm a no. Lee?
No.
Number 116, Ramji Hospitality Roadway Inn and Suites, Comfort Inn and Suites, Comfort Inn and Suites, Ithaca, New York. Discussion.
No.
Was that a vote?
Mhm.
Okay, Ann votes no. Veronica?
No.
Shauna?
No.
Deborah?
No.
I'm a no. Lee?
No.
Just trying to lighten the mood since I
That's
go
good.
back and forth, make it tense, make it light. It's my job. It's my job.
That's important in literature and drama. Yes, very good. Okay. Application 157, Ithaca Youth Bureau Number 2, Cass Park Public Restroom Renovation. Discussion. Okay, Veronica,
No.
Shauna,
No.
Deborah,
No.
I'm going to say yes. Lee
No.
and Ann.
Yes.
And number 118, Dr. Jaleel Halal Meat and Groceries, Ithaca Halal Meat and Grocery, new food truck, halal food. Any discussion? Okay, Shauna?
No.
Deborah?
No.
I'm a no. Lee?
No.
Ann?
No.
Veronica?
No.
All right, that concludes this sheet. Am I correct that that covers that whole bucket, tranche, whatever other words we want to use? Very good. Okay. Clerks, how are we doing up there?
Need to stretch for a minute.
Very good. Finger stretching. Hey, we're going to move on in a moment to the middle bucket, the ones that had requested between 25,000 and 250,000. There are 120 of them, if I remember correctly,
Oh, my God.
and we're going to have some discussion first. So Veronica,
Oh, can I make a comment, a general comment about the votes we just made?
yes.
A topic that I see got a lot of no's, including from me for reasons stated by others, was improving the physical accessibility of a bunch of resources. And I'm not calling out any particular project. And those tended to be projects that were not also hitting, I think what Deborah named as some of the big, like addressing like broader scale gaps in the community and like bigger transformative things. But I just want to note that things like, ADA accessibility and allowing, people of all shapes and configurations to access this or that is important. So I just want to flag that for, maybe not the large bucket of the community recovery fund, but some attention in the future.
Ann,
So are you saying, Dan, that you want to vote on the next tranche?
yes.
So I didn't get that understanding from our meeting yesterday, that we were going to do that. So I'm not prepared to do that. As I said, we didn't get the scoring till 10 o'clock on Sunday night, and I haven't had time to go through them.
Yeah, any other comments?
I just thought maybe we could finish discussing how we were going to spend $4 million apportioned among the projects that we just approved to move on. I guess I'm confused.
Okay, so
I like that, yeah.
I do not want to go there for a couple of reasons. One is we have a bunch of other work to do first, but second of all, because the 4 million is a guideline, it's not set in stone to my understanding. And so we may, after we see all the applications, all the dollar figures, we may adjust that. So that's why we're not ready to finish one whole category yet. Deborah, go ahead. I can see you have something to say.
Yeah, I guess I didn't understand it that way. I thought that the legislature had voted on how to portion the money among the tranches. I'm not sure I care one way or another. I just thought that was a firm.
Okay, we're gonna have to do a little more research on that.
Yeah, that was my understanding too.
Okay, we'll do some more research on that. In the meantime, Anne, I'm not sure what to say. It is my intention to go ahead with voting today. You and everybody else has had the complete list for 2 weeks now. And I understand that you want to use the scoring as that you haven't integrated it into your system yet of how you want to rate these. The scores are right there on this sheet of paper. And I just don't, if we don't vote on these today, then we are pushing our process way out into December. I don't know if we would be able to finish this year. I just don't know. So it's my intention to go ahead with voting today. Veronica.
Couple things. One, I think one way to deal with the not being ready to vote that only works for each individual is to, when in doubt, vote yes, because which I might be objectionable, but we're going to discuss the yeses more and we won't discuss the nos more. Second, I wonder if even though we can't finish the top tranche today, if we could maybe go back and discuss the ones that we said partial to, what level of partial we're looking at, so we could have more of a ballpark total number of money we're considering giving out. And that seems like an intermediate step between where we are now and final decision making. What do you think?
I believe we should vote on the entire list first, and that is going to give us a lot more information about what we need to do next. That is my view.
Oh, by the entire list, do you also mean the lowest tranche?
Yeah, not today. We don't have it yet.
Okay, not today. Oh,
Today, but I think we would be lucky to get through this middle tranche. Is 120 of them. If we can do that, I believe we have accomplished a lot. If we can do that.
and not to put you on the spot, Tracy, but I saw you unmute earlier when you were talking about the 4 million thing.
Yeah, so our understanding is that, or at least the document that we got indicated that there could be some flexibility to move funds around within a certain threshold. So, if it's like, okay, the top bunch, it really comes up to $4,017,000. I think you do have some flexibility to not land right on the $4 million mark, and that the numbers were really intended to say as guidelines along the way. I do want to add that we did yesterday find one application in the middle group that is not in the list yet. So just keep in mind that there will be one more that you're going to get today or tomorrow in that middle group. But you can address that at the next meeting with a smaller group.
And I would guess I would add one more thing to my objection to trying to do that now, because we're going to get dollar totals when this is all sorted through what we passed today, and we're going to see how much we approved and how much partial we approved. And that's going to give it, we don't have that information at this second. Go ahead.
Oh, but I don't think we do have how much partial we approved, because.
We have how much partial was requested.
Oh, but
Yeah, but we might.
we didn't collectively agree, like, I don't think if someone said partial, it doesn't mean we all want partial. If we said partial, that doesn't mean we're doing the minimum,
I guess I'm saying in order to address those issues, answer that question, analyze that stuff, we need some data sorted through to help us. We can't do that live. We can't do that in the moment. Somebody has to crunch some numbers first, and that's not going to happen live, right? I don't know. That's how I feel. Okay, and as Veronica, I just want to respond as far as you said, someone should vote yes if they're not ready. I mean, they're entitled to do that, I guess. Yes, I have some feelings about that, but people have feelings about other things as well, so.
Dan, can I just was I correct in saying that we didn't agree that we were going to do this? This wasn't stated we were going to do this today.
Oh, I feel like I stated it every chance I had. I don't know.
That's not my recollection. I said I wasn't going to be ready.
I do remember you saying that, yeah.
We got information for, the scoring for these 120 applications. Again, Sunday night, and I'm focused on these 21 and incorporating this. And that was yesterday. I mean, I didn't see the email till yesterday morning, so, and I didn't, so I haven't had time to go through it.
Yes, and I know you've said that many times, and I don't know what else to say, except we have 211 applications to vote on, and we have currently voted on 21. And if we don't vote on any more today, as you're suggesting, we have just used 6 of our 9 hours to vote on 21 applications. That is not a good use of committee and staff and consultant time. So I am intending to proceed with the vote.
I just want to say again, we went for a committee, I wouldn't expect to give people information, without enough time to process it. It didn't come out with the agenda. There wasn't enough time to go through this.
Noted. Any other comments before we start voting? Okay, so we are looking, I want to make sure we're literally all on the same page. This was one that has a blue line on about the 10th.
New Roots Charter
New Roots
School.
Charter School is highlighted in blue. Everyone literally on the same page? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to consider advancing applicant 204 to the next level of funding review. Number 204, NAMI Finger Lakes, Project Red, Reengage, Expand, Diversify. Discussion. Okay, Deborah,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
No,
I'm a yes. Number 125, GIAC, Robin Fund Resiliency Assistance. Discussion. Shauna,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
no,
I'm a yes. Deborah?
Yes.
Okay. Number 278, Ithaca Children's Garden Program Shelter. Discussion. Okay, Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
no,
I'm a yes. Deborah
No.
and Shauna.
Yes.
Okay. Number 212,
Can you at least say the numbers, or can someone say
the
the?
vote count, you
Yeah,
mean?
can we at least say that? Possible?
Sure, there are 4 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you.
Number 212, Town of Ulysses, Nourishing Minds and Energizing Bodies, Trumansburg Ulysses Summer Camp 2.0. Discussion. Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
no,
I'm a no. Deborah,
No.
Shauna,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
forgot where I started, I'm sorry. That was everybody.
Partial?
3 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. Number 236, Midstate COSH.
You know what? I'm sorry, Dan, for
Yeah,
the first one that passed 204 NAMI, can we do a partial on that?
yes,
Sorry about that.
no problem. Okay, 236, Midstate COSH, Essential Workers Resilience Program. Discussion. Lee,
no,
I'm a no. Deborah,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
and Ann.
Yes.
Partial for that?
Is-
4 ayes, 2 noes.
I'm going to pause again. Clerks, is it confusing for you that I keep changing the order? Would it be helpful if I stuck to one order? Yeah, okay. Fair enough. I was a little slow to process. Okay. Is it okay if I go back and forth though? No, same order.
It's
Same order.
Just start with a Grinch and go ahead.
Lee, you're the designated number one. Okay. Friends of Ithaca, number 329, Friends of Ithaca Farmers Market, Shared Kitchen Ithaca. Discussion. Lee,
No,
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
No.
Deborah,
No.
I'm a yes.
Partial.
Number 202, oh, sorry.
3 ayes, 3 noes.
Number 202, Better Housing of Tompkins County. Compass Electrical Upgrades. Discussion. Lee,
no,
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah. I'm a no.
Can't do a partial on that one, can we?
Yeah.
Well, because they,
We've said we could consider that even if they don't.
You can throw it in there. We'll do some analysis
okay, yeah,
later. Yeah.
let's do a partial on that.
And there was also, there are a couple that were blanks, but should have been partials. I know that wasn't one of them, but so no harm in throwing in the partial pile, no harm. And I'm sorry, the vote count on that one?
4 ayes, 2 noes.
Number 210, Enfield Community Center. Enfield Community Center Mental Health and Community Services. Something, I'm not sure what that word is. Discussion. Lee,
no,
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah,
No.
I'm a yes.
I would also say partial for that.
4 ayes, 2 noes.
Yeah. Number 148, Tompkins County Chamber of Commerce Foundation, Tompkins County Microenterprise Grant Program Expansion, Hospitality Workforce Navigator, Regional Workforce Recruitment. Discussion. Lee,
no,
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
I'm a yes.
Partial for that, please.
Me. Sorry. At some point, we need to talk about the micro enterprise program and how it fits with the existing one, but not today.
Okay, can we just put in a footnote next to that one that we need some discussion, refer to Joan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I think it was 5-1 on that one.
Correct.
Okay. All right, number 182, Safe Ride Cayuga Health On-Demand Patient Transportation Van. Discussion. Lee,
no,
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
I'm a yes.
Partial.
5 ayes, 1 no.
Number 244, No Más Lágrimas, Scaling Up Capacity and Infrastructure to Meet Critical Community Needs. Discussion. Lee,
no,
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
and I'm a yes.
Partial.
It's 5-1. Number 161, New Roots Charter School, Sustainable Workforce Development Program for Youth. Discussion. Ann.
Yes, as folks might know about this school, they often help educate kids from disadvantaged backgrounds. Not all, but a lot of their programs are helping kids who probably wouldn't thrive in a traditional school program. And so I'm excited to see this is to help them get a program to help them get out in the workforce.
Thank you. Okay, let's vote. Lee,
no,
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
I'm a no,
Partial.
and that's 4-2. We got the partial, yep. Number 220, Habitat for Humanity of Tompkins and Cortland County. This is a Habitat for Humanity expanded deeply affordable home construction. Discussion. Lee,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay, just to switch it up, I'm going to switch the direction of the voting this time. I'm going to go back the other way. The next one up is number 251, Legal Medical Center. Number 2, Community Integrated Health Center. Discussion. Deborah,
No.
Shauna,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
I'll be a yes.
Partial.
Five ayes, one no.
Number 335, Southside Community Center, kitchen renovation. Discussion. Shauna.
Yeah, I had questions about this because I know that they came into our budget and asked for funding for part of this. They also went into the city budget.
They did not ask us for kitchen renovation funding. They asked us for funding for other stuff.
It was the city then that they went to.
Is it in the city's budget? I had the same question.
I would have to check. I believe they asked for $400,000 and the city gave them half of that. So this would be the rest.
Any other discussion? Southside Community Center, 335. Okay. Deborah,
Yes.
Shauna,
No.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee.
No.
I'm a no. That's 3-3.
Partial.
Okay. Number 177, Town of Caroline, Caroline Broadband Initiative. Discussion. I'm going to say something. I know it's in my district, but that's not why I'm voting for it. I'm voting for it because it's the only broadband application in the entire packet.
I agree. So I'll vote yes.
Deborah is yes.
No.
Shauna is no. Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. That's 5-1.
Partial for that, please.
Yeah, partial's good. Number 241, Family and Children's Service of Ithaca, new electronic medical record system for operational efficiency and improved client service. Discussion. Deborah,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
I'm a no. That's
Partial.
5-1 and it's partial. Okay. Number 334, Suicide Prevention and Crisis Service of Tompkins County, call center renovation and capacity building. Discussion.
I just want to disclose that I have a very close personal relationship with an employee of this organization, but we're not financially entangled in any way.
And just as a reminder, that is not a limit, doesn't prohibit you from voting or discussing, and it's optional whether you want to disclose it. So that's all good, just reminding everybody. Okay, any other discussion? Let us vote. Deborah,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. That's 6 yeses. Number 283, Golden Opportunity Incorporated, Geo Tutoring.
Can I do a partial for suicide?
Yes.
Sorry, thank you.
Partial for suicide. So we're on number 283 and we're ready to vote. Deborah,
Yes.
Shauna,
No.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
No.
and I'm a no. Wasn't sure what to vote on that one.
3 ayes, 3 noes.
Okay.
So what happens again with those 3-3 ones?
Okay, so technically they did not pass, just, by the rules of the legislature and Robert's rules. However, later on, when we get this sorting, we're gonna have to sort through these one more time. So, they can be brought up again. We'll also have a good sense that they had mediocre support, and we're gonna look at I assume we're gonna look at the ones that had a lot of support, but they don't disappear.
We'll get to them if we have money left over.
Yes, or even further than that, someone can bring something back, I believe. We have to kind of think through that process. So I don't think that eliminates them for the rest of eternity, but it does say a lot about it.
Okay, thanks.
That sound pretty fair? Ann?
Yes, and also thinking about, if we miss something that we're saying partial, can we be flexible enough that, hey, I didn't say it, but when we go look at the different pots? Okay.
Absolutely. Yep. This is just the first sorting. It's just to help us narrow it down and get some kind of handle on it. And I'd say, well, I'm going to withhold my evaluation yet because we are at the top of the list of scoring. It makes sense that we're saying yes to a lot of these. Okay, we are up to number 344, United Way of Tompkins County, Volunteer Tompkins. Discussion. Deborah,
No.
Shauna,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
No,
and I'm a no. I believe that's 3-3. Number 201, Running to Places, expanding access to youth development and wellness through theater. Discussion. Deborah,
No.
Shauna,
No.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
no,
and I'm a no. That's 4-2. We're on the next page. For this page, I'm going to reverse the order of the voting again. Sorry for the pressure. If you guys want to change seats, that could do it. Quick finger stretches. See the clerks doing that? Okay, here we go. We're a little over 1 hour into our meeting. Making good progress. Number 150, East Hill Flying Academy. East Hill Flying Academy Advanced Flight Training Initiative. Discussion. Okay, Lee,
no,
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
No.
Shauna,
No.
Deborah,
No.
and I'm a no. Is that 5-1?
1-5.
Pardon me?
1-5.
1-5.
1 aye, 5 noes.
Perfect, thank you. Number 232, Catholic Charities Tompkins Tioga, CCTT Pandemic Relief Rental Assistance 2023. Discussion. Shauna?
Yeah, I think I would just want to make sure that the funds that they receive will be staying in Tompkins.
Tracy, are you able to weigh on that quickly? If you're not, it's okay. I know we're asking you to zoom into like a specific detail and specific application.
Yeah, most of them we kind of reviewed for that detail, but I can pull it up real quick if you want to maybe come back to that application.
Okay, yes, please. Why don't we vote on it assuming yes, the answer is yes, that it is for Tompkins County residents. And Tracy, if you come up with a different answer, we can reconsider our vote. Is that acceptable? Everybody? Okay, so we're assuming yes right now. We're voting on 232. Any other discussion? Okay, ready to vote. Lee,
yes,
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
and I'm a yes.
Partial.
Partial. Okay. Number 324.
What was the vote?
Oh, 6-0.
Yeah. And Emma just let me know that it is tied to 45 rental units in Tompkins County.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. I mean, just for the sake of the committee and the public, that was one of the screenings. We're not allowed to spend this money outside of the county, but it's okay to ask those questions to make sure that those details got caught. Number 324, Village of Dryden Sanitary Sewer System Inflow and Infiltration Abatement Project.
Uh,
Yeah, go ahead, Deborah.
I want to address this. I'm going to be voting no on this. As you know, my husband's the mayor of Lansing Village, and as such, he participates in the wastewater treatment group that deals with the facility in Cayuga Heights and its interactions with the facility in the city of Ithaca. And there's some interesting stuff going on where the participants in that group seem to be trying to point the finger at the village and town of Lansing for all the inflow and infiltration in the system unfairly, in my opinion. And to have this request come just doesn't sit right with me. So I'm going to be voting no. And I guess that might be a declaration of a conflict of interest. I don't know.
I don't think you have any financial benefit from the Village of Dryden, am I correct?
No, I just,
Yeah, fair enough.
this just ticks me off.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's not a true conflict, so you're welcome to vote, in my opinion. Ann?
I just want to say for sewers, water systems, that, to me, that's part of our resiliency goals and our resiliency plans. And so I just want to, I'm going to lean towards voting for these type of projects because it really helps the community with infrastructure. I mean, as we see, well, I guess you guys don't drive that, most people, but coming down, either through Trumansburg or here, there's another water main break. So infrastructure is a huge issue. And if you get the siren, alerts. So I think start to tackle some of the aging infrastructure. I'm going to probably be voting yes for these. Because I just say there's more than one.
Lee, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I've been on the fence on this one, and I very much appreciate what Ann's position on that. But I know there's others in here in significant amounts that are similar things, and I'm hopeful that the bond act that passed last week with the clean water is going to provide some several $1 billion worth of support for these types of projects. So that bears in my thinking.
Thank you, Lee. I actually had the exact same comment. I was on the fence, and then I thought about that. It very specifically in that bond act that just passed talks about, municipal water systems. It's also the Federal Infrastructure Act. So I don't know if that's fair, but I think that with our limited amount of money, we need to direct it to the things that can't be funded elsewhere as easily. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, Lee,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
No.
Shauna.
No.
Deborah.
No.
So I'm a no, that's 5-1. Number 155, the Science Center. Science Center infrastructure for stronger community STEM learning. Any discussion? Okay, Lee,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
No.
Deborah,
No.
and I'm a no, that's 4-2, 4-2. No, 2-4. Yikes.
24 to 624. There you go.
Yeah, good one. Deb.
Partial.
Okay. 275, Dryden Family Medicine Revitalization and Living Wage Initiative, discussion. Okay, Lee,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
No.
Deborah,
No.
and I'm a no, that's
I'm just going to say partial
2 to
again.
4.
Partial again, because the lowest one is $15,000 to help with living wage. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Number 103, Ithaca Montessori School, IMS Scholarship Fund Expansion, discussion. Lee,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
and I'm a no, that's 4-2.
We could
Partial.
certainly consider it partial.
Partial, yep, good. Number 129, Smart Start Tuition Relief and Fair Salary Initiative. Discussion. Lee,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
and I'm a no, that's 4-2.
A partial for that.
126. Communitas ALC, Self-Directed Education Program for Homeschoolers. Discussion. Let us vote. Lee,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah,
No.
and I'm a no. That's 3-3.
Partial.
325, Advocacy Center of Tompkins County, Safe Housing Program. Discussion. Okay, Lee,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. That's
Partial.
partial, and that's 6-0. Number 231, Newfield Public Library, Tompkins Library Connect, TLC. Discussion. Lee,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
No.
Deborah.
Yes.
I'll go with yes. What was the count on that one, please?
4 ayes, 2 noes.
Okay, number 262, Center for Transformative Action, Healthy Food for All. Discussion. Lee,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah.
Yes.
I'm a no. That's 4-2,
Partial for that.
partial. Number 234, INHS number 1, INHS 1 Village Grove Nursery School. Ann,
So as folks saw on the application, this is to help put a nursery school, which is currently housed at the basement of a church, is to give them their own facility within the Village Grove INHS's new development in Trumansburg. So it's going to be right in there. So people can, in that community, can just walk right there, drop off their kids. And it's also walkable to most of the village and it's adjacent to the elementary school. Well, elementary, all the schools are together. It's adjacent to the schools in Trumansburg. So I think it's really going to help the community.
Lee,
Just a quick question. Do you think it'll expand capacity?
Yes. Oh, yes, it will. And parking, because they're in the bottom of a church on the main street. So parking and dropping kids off is not ideal at all. Borders on unsafe.
ready to vote? Okay, Lee,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna.
Yes.
Deborah.
Yes.
I'm a yes, that's 6.
I will note that one's subject to environmental review. It's been a while.
Yeah.
You're still here.
I'm still here. I just woke up, so I've been tracking.
Thank you, Joe. Number 276, Kitchen Theater Company Revitalization Funding. Discussion. Voting. Lee,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
No.
Deborah.
No.
I'm a no. That's 2-4. BJM Families Together, number 1. BJM Families Together After School Enrichment. Lee,
Just a second. here.
sure, absolutely. I'll go the other way this time. I'll start on the other way. We're going to switch back now. Deborah,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
No.
and I'm a no. That's 4-2. Number 237.
If we could do partial.
237, INHS number 2, INHS 2 COVID rent recovery. Okay, discussion. Ann,
as people know, this ticks a lot of boxes, in our programs, as far as affordability, helping people, with homeless issues and the rising costs of just affordability in this community.
Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
It's your vote.
It's a yes.
Okay, Shauna,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
I'm a yes. That's 6-0. Number 277, Ithaca Voice. Ithaca Voice, build capacity to aid community resiliency. Discussion. Deborah.
No.
Shauna,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
No.
and I'm a no. That's 3-3.
Partial.
Number 119, Historic Ithaca, workforce in sustainability and environmental initiatives. Discussion. Okay, Deborah,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
No.
and I'm a no. That's 4-2.
Partial for that?
Partial for that. Number 317, OAR opportunities, alternatives and resources, opportunities, alternatives and resources of Tompkins County for community evening hours. Discussion.
I would like to approve this, but I'm concerned that if we provide this one-time funding, it's not going to be something that they're going to be able to sustain. So I'm actually going to vote against this.
Could, Tracy, can you zoom into that application for a moment? And I have this memory that it was actually for multi-year, but I can't remember if this was the one or not.
I think it is.
44 months or something like that.
Yeah.
While we're doing that, can we take a break at 11:30-ish? If we
Yes.
think we're going to keep going.
I was
it
thinking
seems
about the
like.
bottom of this page, we would take the break. Is
Okay,
that
thanks.
going to work?
They have a project end date listed as December of 2025.
It is multi-year, for whatever that's worth, but vote as you will. Any other discussion? Okay, Deborah.
No.
Shauna.
No.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
No.
and I'm a yes. That's 3-3.
Partial.
Number 159, Trumansburg Conservatory of Fine Arts, TCFA, Historic Preservation and Accessibility Upgrades. Discussion. Ann.
Just want to say they provide a lot of different activities. It's one of, I think, the only place in the town of Ulysses that provides programs primarily to youth, but to all ages. And this is to, I don't know if people have been in there, but this is to help. This is part of their overall reconstruction and adaptability. And this focuses more on the accessibility. So because there's stairs and various things that make it inaccessible to a lot of people.
Other discussion? Okay, let us vote. Deborah?
No.
Shauna?
No.
Veronica?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Lee?
No.
And I'm a no. That's 2-4. A lot of trouble with these.
Partial.
111, Village at Ithaca. Building the future, expanding the Village at Ithaca's historic West End space to meet critical service gaps for youth and families. Discussion. Okay, Deborah?
Yes.
Shauna?
Yes.
Veronica?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Partial.
Partial.
Is that 6?
That is 6, yep. Number 300, Bangs Ambulance. Critical Care Transport Unit and Advanced Airway Program. Discussion. Lee?
you're going to find this surprising. There are several emergency services ones in here, and all the departments could be applying under this category, all have that same need. I got a tough time with it under this one. The other thing is further down, you're going to see some on radio replacements. And it's a conversation I had with Rich John and a couple of other board members that is a critical need for all of our departments. And I would hope outside of this process, we might be able to craft something to be able to assist those departments with radio replacements years ahead. But I can't support that in some of these other ones in here, much as it pains me to do that. And I know the needs of these departments, but I think that it's got to be looked at from a separate funding source.
Shauna?
Yeah, so I actually did a ride along with Bangs a few weeks ago, and we definitely need to make sure to help our ambulance services, and they're seeing just an amazing amount of need in all of our municipalities. They're one of our biggest providers here, and I think that due to the fact that they do a lot for our community, they handle situations where they don't get payment. I think that we need to step up here and provide the tools for them to do the job. So hope others will support it.
Ann?
Thanks. I also, I'm thinking similarly in regards, having talked with many of the EMS, fire, and in my district and other departments or other areas, and this has been an issue for years, that it's getting harder and harder for them to fund. The costs are going up, the demand is going up, and thus far, it's been extremely hard to find any funding for them. So for us to start chipping away at it, kind of like we do for housing and other things, if we can start chipping away at it to help these organizations now through this money, if not, we are going to be looking at soon, figuring out how to figure out, are we going to be spending the county taxpayer funds versus federal? So I'm going to support, I think, most, if not all of these through here.
Yeah, I think we have to. I mean, given, we all know what a dumpster fire, a combination of factors and publicity and concerns that we've been dealing with. I just can't understand how we could not support this. So
I'm also going to support it because I know that Bangs handles things, all over the county, and is kind of the backup. Also, and Lee, I also tried to think through a little bit about how this is different, or if it's different than the municipalities. And, one thing is that Bangs does not have a taxing authority, and the other ones, are associated with towns or fire districts that do. So that was a factor for me as well. Okay, we're going to vote. Bangs Ambulance, Deborah,
yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. That's 6-0. I guess we convinced him.
Yeah, and you have pointed out, they do, it's to a private entity, but they do have the bulk of the Medicaid transports in the county. They do have the bulk of the suicides. They do have the bulk of the mental healths, and they are severely under reimbursed. So, okay, fine.
Cool.
Thank you, Grinch.
We're up to application number 213, Town of Newfield, creating community spaces. Discussion. Deborah,
No.
Shauna,
No.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
No,
I'm a no. I think that's 2-4. Number 368, Alcohol and Drug Council of Tompkins County Incorporated for a Certified Recovery Peer Advocate CRPA program. Discussion. Ann.
Want to say their low threshold of the minimal request, 25,000, could have significant impact.
Okay, let us vote. Deborah,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Hey, I'll be a yes too then. 6-0. And then the last one on this page, State Theater of Ithaca. State Theater Lobby Expansion 2023. Discussion. I will state I don't have a financial stake in these people, so there's not a true conflict, but I'm a longtime volunteer there. And it's going to pain me to vote against this, but I am going to vote against this. Deborah,
No.
Shauna,
No.
Veronica,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
No.
and I'm a no. That's 1 to 5. Okay.
Break time.
It is break time and it's exactly 11:30, exactly halfway through. We're making good progress. I am pleased with that. And anybody, anything to say before we take our little break?
How long's our break?
How long should our break be? 10 minutes.
Both did it.
Yes, it was, I don't know if that meant 20 minutes. So yes, we're on a 10-minute break. Okay. We are going to resume with our process. Before we do that, does anybody need to say anything? Okay. We had left off at the bottom of, so at the top of page 3 now, which starts with Hammerstone School. And let's see, I think when we left off, the voting was going that way, so we'll start with the Lee again in that direction. I'm going to move number 146, Hammerstone School, Hammerstone operating costs. Discussion. Ann.
So this is in my district, and for people unfamiliar, they help train women to get into the workforce and get into entry levels, you know, through training with carpentry skills, which is something, you know, talking with, for instance, the carpentry union officials, that they're always looking to help get people into that field, period, but especially women. So this is a school that helps with that.
Genderqueer people too.
Yes,
Speaking from
sorry.
experience.
Thank you for that clarification.
Any other discussion? Okay, we're going to vote in the Lee direction. Lee,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
No.
Deborah,
No,
and I'm a no, that's 2 to 4. Number 229, Ithaca Public Education Initiative, IPEI number 2. Ithaca Public Education Initiative Student and Family Support Symposium. Discussion. Lee.
Yes. No, excuse me. No, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the next one.
Yeah, there's a lot, no problems. Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna. Yes. Deborah.
yes,
I'm a no. That's 4 to 2.
oh, partial.
Number 328, Ithaca Community Child Care Center. Ithaca Community Child Care Center COVID Recovery Grant. Discussion.
I am looking at the line that talks about an increase in capacity for childcare as a result of this.
Very good. Other discussion. Lee,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah.
Yes,
Yes, that's 6.
partial.
Number 261, Groundswell Center for Local Food and Farming, growing and diversifying the local farming community and building a healthy, resilient food system. Discussion. Lee,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah.
Yes,
I'm a no. That's 4 to 2. 227.
Partial.
For the last one.
Yes.
Yep, okay. 227, Challenge Workforce Solutions, pre-vocational and post-secondary transitional services for high school students living with disabilities. Discussion. Lee, oh, sorry, we have some discussion. Ann.
Yeah, so this is having worked for Challenge Workforce Solutions many years ago. This is a different program or a newer program than when I was there, but capturing folks, young folks at that time where they're graduating from high school, so people with disabilities, to get them into the workforce, to me could be a transformative thing for their families, for the community, versus a different path where they might have to be supported and have more difficulties, you know, with life. There's so many great benefits to somebody actually getting into the workforce and contributing, you know, for themselves and the community and being taxpayers.
Very good. Other discussion. Lee.
I just hesitate on some of these where we're creating positions. We're worrying about the sustainability in years moving ahead when once that first year is done.
Right, that's their, I look at it as each organization, that's their job to, we prime the pump, kind of like a pilot program. We prime the pump and they have to figure it out afterwards. But these are, for instance, this organization is well-versed in getting funding from various agents, various organizations around the country.
Okay, ready to vote? Lee,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Donna,
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes. Partial. Oh, sorry, Ann.
I'm a no.
Okay, can I make a suggestion here? I'm seeing a trend. Almost everything is a partial. Can we just kind of assume
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that if we push something forward for the next level, we will also consider.
Yeah.
My only hesitation to doing that is I would imagine, and speaking for myself, that when I look at the list after we've sorted into these categories, partials, the ones that aren't partial, the ones that we've all said, yes, this is what we want to fund, like those are almost definitely, those rise right to the top of the list. And we have to do this sorting. We have to eliminate 80%. So I don't, that's the value of it for me. So I'm willing.
Yeah, I just don't see there, we've passed through very many without, I mean, I see one, maybe. I think it was the St. John's was the only one that we didn't say, partial. So.
Is that the preference of the committee that we just assume partial?
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that.
Yes.
I see a few, but it's possible that I've just missed someone saying partial and didn't get it down.
Okay.
A lot more partials than just straight up yes
Right.
on my paper.
It just, for whatever it's worth, I mean, when we get to that stage, it's going to be, that is all, I can't envision how we're going to negotiate that. And maybe we'll recommend 10% less than everybody asked for, or 30%. I don't know. I mean, otherwise we're going to be debating every single application, but
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out that process. Maybe we'll discuss that if we have time
Well, you know,
today, how we're gonna go
One
on.
option we could do is, are there any, when we have the final list, are there any that we all agree we want to fund 100%? Okay.
that is what we've been doing.
Well, no.
That's why I don't want to eliminate it, but you, go ahead.
No, I think what we've been doing is going through and eliminating the ones we don't want to consider at all.
A small number of ones that were saying 100%, and then most of them are partials. For whatever it's worth, I've barely said partial. I mean, I don't want to do that, but
Well,
it's okay. The will of the committee is that we
We've
we eliminate the partial. There's no more partial category. So that's what we're doing.
Do we finish voting on this one? Did I think
Yes.
we did? What was the vote for the challenge one?
5-1.
5-1.
Correct.
Okay. Back on track. We are up to 247, is that correct? Ithaca
Oh,
Public.
5, yes, okay.
Ithaca Public Education Initiative, IPEI number 3, STEM Advocates, Ithaca City School District STEM Associated Club Travel Event. Discussion. Lee.
No.
Ann.
Yes.
Veronica.
Yes.
Shauna.
No.
Deborah.
no,
I'm a no, that's 2-4. Number 233, Civic Ensemble, Fertile Grounds, Community-Based Play. Discussion. Let us vote. Lee.
No.
Ann.
Yes.
Veronica.
Yes.
Shauna.
No.
Deborah.
no,
And I'm a no. Number 2, it's 2-4. Number 294, Friends of Stewart Park, Stewart Park splash pad and accessible bathroom. Discussion. Ann?
So they've been at this project for quite a while, and I think some of us have toured there for their, making the park more accessible. And it's not just making it more accessible for kids, but their caregivers or the people who accompany them to be able to get in there. And so I'm going to vote yes on that and look at possibly maybe they would accept, less than 100,000 when we go later.
I'm going to say a brief thing, just to, to reveal some of my thinking. One of the things that I thought about as I looked at each application was the word transformative, which we had used and incorporated into the guidelines. We all understood at every stage of that discussion that nobody could precisely define the word transformative, but that's what I tried to look at. And to me, something like this actually is, because it enables anybody and everybody to use this public space, Stewart Park. It's free, it's open to everybody, and it is heavily used at least at certain times. So I just, for whatever it's worth, that's my reasoning for why I will be voting yes for this and maybe some of the other ones. That is my reasoning for voting yes for some of the other ones. Any other discussion? Lee?
No.
Ann?
Yes.
Veronica?
Yes.
Shauna?
Yes.
Deborah?
No.
And I'm a yes, that's 4-2.
Partial.
And this one is subject to environmental review.
Okay, number 235, Cornell Cooperative Extension, Tompkins County 4-H. CCE, on the road again. Discussion.
A nice name of the program.
Can't wait to get on the road
I-
again.
Just want to disclose, whenever I go on a road trip, I play the song in the car, but
Let the record reflect that. Okay, let's have a vote. Lee?
No.
Ann?
yes.
Veronica?
Yes.
Shauna?
No.
Deborah?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. I think that's 4-2.
Partial.
I think we agreed. We're not,
Okay,
I
good.
thought we agreed that.
Okay.
163, Tompkins Cortland Community College #1 Childcare and Food Pantry. Tompkins Cortland FSA Community College Childcare Center and Panther Pantry Remodel and Expansion Project. Whew.
Easy for you to say.
Go Panthers. Okay, discussion. Ann?
Just looking at the low threshold for the minimum request, just want to point that out, 19,500. And again, a lot of us have been up there for a tour, and their, for instance, their pantry is teeny. I mean, they're literally stacked food to the walls. So there's a lot of, I as a college student was food insecure. And so I know a lot of students are too. So I'll be voting
Yeah.
yes for this.
An astonishing percentage of their student body is food insecure.
Mhm.
All right, let's have a vote. Lee?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Veronica?
Yes.
Shauna?
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes.
I'm a yes, that's 6-0. Number 248, St. James AME Zion Church, St. James Rejuvenation Project. Discussion. Lee?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Veronica?
Yes.
Shauna?
No.
Deborah?
No.
And I'm a no, that's 3-3. Number 246, the Cherry Arts West End Revitalization Project. Discussion. Let us vote. Oh, sorry, go ahead,
I
Ann.
just want to say it's not just for, people might know of plays and different things. They're open to a lot of community events that are held there. And it's heavily used, and it could be with a little bit of renovation, it could be accessible and used for a lot more different programs and more accessible to people with all abilities.
Okay, let us vote. Lee?
No.
Ann?
Yes.
Veronica?
No.
Shauna?
No.
Deborah?
No.
And I'm a no, it's 1-5. Number 337, City of Ithaca Fire Department. Number 2, IFD hazmat meter. Discussion.
Just, I would mention that this particular item would benefit all the departments in the county. I think a fire department does function as the hazmat response team for the entire county. So it's not just one department that benefits from this.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lee.
Yeah, that answers my question because I was just wondering, why are we paying for this? Does anybody know, has the city kicked in any money for this?
They support it's a good point, Deborah. They support the training and they don't bill back the other departments when we pull them out to the hinterland to do a hazmat response. So they're supporting it strongly through personnel costs. And I think periodically they do come up with some equipment. And we've also pursued Homeland Security grants to support the actual equipment needs for that team, but they're limited in what's available.
Thank you.
And
That's a good point. Or I like the point where you mentioned, going out and throughout the county, just like Bangs does. So it's not, when we look at Ithaca, I think of services for the county.
okay, ready to vote? Lee,
Yes.
Ann.
Yes.
Veronica.
Yes.
Shauna.
Yes.
Deborah.
Yes.
And I'm a yes, that's 6-0. Next one up, number 290, City of Ithaca Fire Department, IFD radio replacement.
Again, this is one where I've got a break because I see this need on a countywide basis. And I go back to when we did the initial radios and we were able to come up with a real creative program that shared the funding of those things. And I think that, as I said, we've had some initial discussions with Rich as chair of public safety and with Michael as the director of the department. And I really encourage them to package together something that would allow for a broader replacement that would help all the departments rather than funding one here and one there. And in order to create some not only sustainability, but some consistency and make sure everybody's needs are addressed. So I don't want to throw this completely out, but I think that there's another approach that ought to be taken on it.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, let us vote. Lee.
No.
Ann.
Yes.
Veronica.
Yes.
Shauna.
No.
Deborah.
No.
And I'm a no, that's 2-4. Number 104, Open City Labs Incorporated, development and community feedback on app that assists people in accessing government benefits. Discussion. Veronica.
Yeah, so I happen to be friends with the founder and applicant here. So I guess disclosing that, no financial conflict of interest. But it also means I've chatted about his work with him. And so I just want to say, because this is a little obscure, the company's got a couple different pieces of software, both geared at streamlining the complicated minefield that I think is people accessing government benefits with just outdated forms and myriad regulations that are spread across locality and state and this and that. And as we know, that's one of the barriers to people accessing money that could be coming into our community that they're eligible for. So what this project would be on the user individual side, if they signed up and use it, could apply way more easily for a bunch more things. And then the other project that they've already have established using outside of Tompkins County is on the agency side, where they can streamline their formats. So I actually don't totally know how I will vote. I think this could be really, really helpful at filling an identified gap. That said, a lot of the money is toward developing the app. I think it's promising, but it's not going to be directly used now, but it could be transformative. Just wanted to provide that background.
Very good. Any other discussion? Let us vote. Lee.
No.
Anne,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Donna,
No.
Deborah,
No.
and I'm a no. That's 2-4. Number 200, Mighty Yoga, stabilize, solidify, and community impact. Discussion. Okay, Lee.
No.
Anne,
Yes.
Veronica,
No.
Donna,
No.
Deborah,
No.
and I'm a no. That's 1-5. Number 355, Unchained Properties, Southworks Training Hub feasibility study. Discussion. Okay, Lee.
No.
Anne,
Yes.
Veronica,
No.
Shauna,
No.
Deborah,
No.
I'm a no. That's 1-5. Number 295, Caroline After School Program, rebuilding the Caroline After School Program. Discussion. Anne,
So one of the, a little tired here, but not the program priorities, but one of the types of projects, institutions, that we had put in the applicable programs was educational. So so this is one of the, I recall, one of the few applications that hits that. And so rebuilding after-school programs for kids, I don't think I need to say how important that is. So I just wanted to point that out, though, that we have very few in here that, so it's youth, education, and at a critical time. It helps, for people that are working, it helps give a really good, solid place for their kids to go after school. And they often provide food to kids during the programs.
I'm going to speak on this one. This is another one. It's my district, but I'm going to vote against it painfully. I don't see this as transformative. It's just not big. Computers, printers, softwares. I understand these are day-to-day things that people need. There's the hiring the staff, which is not sustainable, without increased ongoing funding. And I'll also just point out, it's part of the school district with very high taxes. There are ways in which they can, access money that from other sources. So I'm going to have to vote no. Any other discussion? Lee,
No.
Anne,
Yes.
Veronica,
No.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah.
Yes.
I'm a no. I think that's 3-3. Number 315, George Junior Republic Union Free School District, George Junior Republic Wellness Center. Discussion. Anne,
I just want to point out again, the low threshold, the minimum request 50,000. So there could be a possibility they'd even go lower. So small amount, we might be able to help with that program.
okay, let us vote. Lee.
No.
Anne,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
No.
Deborah,
No.
and I'm a no. That is 2-4. Last one on this page.
Dan, we do have a hand.
Oh, yes. Kate.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to just say a clarification about when you're talking about Caroline, when you're talking about the Caroline after-school programs, a lot of those are nonprofits that are parent funded and not necessarily part of the school district. Not that they can't apply for other grants, but to make the distinction that they don't necessarily benefit from the tax dollars according to the school district the same way, because most of them are nonprofits. Not all of them, but that would be one. So.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, we are on the last one on this page. Oh, go ahead, Ann.
It's about the last.
On the last one on this
the next
page,
one.
number 267, Jacksonville Community Association, JCA Park Accessibility. Go ahead, Ann.
So I am on the board for this organization, have been for quite a few years. It's, as people might know, it's right before, it's a little hamlet that's right before Trumansburg. It's on our housing plan, one of the nodes that we've recommended for development. And this is, they also we also have funding from the town of Ulysses and some shared agreements that they help the park with various maintenance and things like that. And so this is to help make it more accessible to the community, and it's the only community park besides Teganic Park in the whole town of Ulysses. And looking at just want to point out the low threshold of 10,000, 5,000, I know would be helpful to help them leverage other funds.
I'm going to say I appreciate, your pitch there. I'm going to vote no, but I remind you that they can apply for this park funding that we just set up for up to $5,000 from the county already. Ready to vote? Lee?
No.
Ann?
Yes.
Veronica?
Yes.
Donna?
No.
Deborah?
No.
And I'm a no, that's 2-4. Okay, we're on the next page. Number 239, Cornell Cooperative Extension number 2, Finger Lakes Payment for Ecosystem Services, PES Pilot Program. Discussion? Okay, so now we're going to reverse order on the voting for a little while. Every page will switch. Deborah?
No.
Shauna?
No.
And Veronica?
No.
Ann?
Yes.
Lee?
No.
I'm a no, that's 1-5. Over the Moon, 185, Over the Moon Preschool, solidifying the long-term financial viability of Over the Moon Preschool and After-School Program. Discussion. Okay, let's vote. Deborah?
No.
Shauna?
Yes.
Veronica?
No.
Ann?
Yes.
Lee?
No.
I'm a yes. Is that 3-3, I think? Okay. All right. Number 230, Rocco Design and Build, Workforce Champions in Residential Construction and Remodeling. Discussion. Let us vote. Deborah?
No.
Shauna?
No.
Veronica?
No.
Ann?
Yes.
Lee?
No.
And I'm a no. That's 1-5. Number 298, Community School of Music and Arts, CSMA.
I'm sorry, Dan, could I just clarification on
Yes.
application 185, please? What was
Yes.
the vote count on that? I missed it.
I think it was 3-3. Is that right?
Correct.
3-3.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
We are,
Community School of
yep,
Arts.
thank you. Number 298, Community School of Music and Arts, CSMA regrowth, roof replacement and mitigation of financial hardship. Discussion. Deborah?
No.
Shauna?
No.
Veronica?
No.
Ann?
Yes.
Lee?
No.
I'll go yes on this one. That's 2-4. William George, number 359, the William George Agency for Children's Services Incorporated, WGA Agriculture Education Center, Phase 1. Discussion. Deborah?
Yes.
Shauna?
No.
Veronica?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Lee?
No.
And I'm a no, that's 3-3. Number 144, Cornell Media Guild, Financial Hardship Relief. Discussion. Deborah?
No.
Shauna?
No.
Veronica?
No.
Ann?
Yes.
Lee?
No.
I'm a no, that's 1-5. Number 249, Tompkins Cortland Community College number 2 micro-credential. Tompkins Cortland Community College micro-credentials funding for individuals. Discussion, Deborah.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out, I'm going to support this. We have joined with Cortland County to fund it, not an inconsiderable amount, this pilot program for micro-credentialing and workforce development. And as it happens, a lot of those students cannot access financial aid through the traditional routes. And so this would be extremely helpful in our workforce development efforts and our support of TC3's program. So I will be voting for this.
Very good. Ann?
And also this helps with skills for green jobs, getting into unions, getting into, other educational fields, these small micro credentials. It's some of what, not lately, but I know when I first took office, people talked to us about people don't often have the skills to get into the next level. So this helps with that. And again, this is a partner program that we're doing with them.
Very good. Ready to vote? Deborah?
Yes.
Shauna?
Yes.
Veronica?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Yes, also. That's 6-0, yeah? Okay. Number 160, Town of Lansing, New York State, 34B Corridor Strategic Plan. Number 196. What did I say?
160.
Thank you.
oh my God, where's
This is
Can I
take-
put in a fellow
Anybody else
legislator?
cross-eyed by now?
This takes a lot of concentration. I agree. Go ahead, Lee.
Can I
Sorry.
put a fellow legislator on the spot here? Your thoughts as the representative from that area, Deborah?
I was planning on voting no.
Anything you want to say? You don't have to, but just
Well,
wondering.
nothing negative particularly about Lansing's planning initiative. I think the world of CJ Randall. But I know that we spent a ton of money on a corridor study for Route 13 that didn't do anything positive other than enrich the consultant. And I don't have a lot of faith in these corridor studies.
Well, I'm kind of in the same boat here as we were with the stormwater thing. And one of the things I'm trying to do here is make sure there's a good distribution in different geographical areas. But okay, thanks.
Okay, let's vote. Deborah?
No.
Shauna?
No.
Veronica?
No.
Ann?
No.
Lee?
No.
I'm a no also. That's 0-6. Ellis Hollow Community Center, EHCC Revitalization Project. Discussion. Just one moment here, please. Yeah, I'm going to vote yes on this one. I'm partial to funding roofs because there's, you know what I mean? Like it at least stabilizes the place so that they can continue to exist.
Keeps the rain out,
Once the roof
yeah.
goes down, the building, so that's my explanation. Any other discussion? Okay, let us have a vote. Deborah,
No.
Shauna,
No.
Veronica,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
No.
and I'm a yes. That's 2-4. Number 184, Ithaca Public Education Initiative, IPEI number 1. Ithaca Public Education Initiative Operational Support. Discussion. Okay, Deborah.
No.
Shauna?
No.
Veronica?
No.
Ann?
Yes.
Lee?
No.
And I'm a no. That's 1-5. Number 219, Home Green Home, Commons Refill Center at Home Green Home. Discussion. Deborah,
No.
Shauna,
No.
Veronica,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
No.
and I'm a no. That's 1-5. Number 242, Enfield Volunteer Fire Company Capital Improvement Project. Discussion.
Yeah, I want to hear from Annie on this project. What,
And you're on.
I didn't get a chance because I didn't know it was going to be on today, so I didn't delve into it deeply, but I just want to say for the project that they do receive funds from the town of Enfield, but it is not a done deal. They're a separate organization, nonprofit, and they have to negotiate what funds they do get. And again, they have issues which other fire departments around the area of the trucks don't fit. They can't bring their trucks in and they can't go out the other side. It makes it dangerous. It's hard to clean their equipment. And I've had a couple of tours there. They're needing bigger and bigger places. They're needing renovations constantly, not constantly, but every 10, 15 years, the trucks are getting bigger. They have all their equipment. They have some of their stuff is stacked. So like some of their trucks. So like you have to move one to get another. That's right. So
that helps with a quick response too, doesn't it? Never mind.
I mean, they're doing the best they can to, we put this one here and this one's the backup. So we put this one in the back there. So we have pretty much, anyway, they're doing the best they can, but I'm going to vote yes on this. And they also go all over the county.
I'm going to ask Tracy, can you zoom in on this application, please? And tell us what the brief description is, because it's a little cut off on at least one of the sheets that I looked at.
Yeah, so this is specifically around personnel, housing and training. So it's enhancements for the, obviously firefighters and emergency response personnel are, sleeping on site and on 24/7. So it's actually around constructing some new housing or sleeping type arrangements for personnel, so that they can house up to 6 fire and EMS personnel. And then updating their 20-year-olds audio-visual training equipment, updating their American Heart Association compliant CPR training mannequins and essential training equipment, and then updating their EMS first response equipment.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
We're going to be taking a comprehensive look at the responses with the creation of a new position there at the Department of Emergency Response. And again, it pains me a little bit, but the problems that they've got are common to quite a few departments.
Any other discussion, Ann?
So thanks for giving us more detail on that. Their sleeping quarters are like similar to some of the other small ones. It's just kind of thrown together. They really need better sleeping quarters so that they can have people there to be 24. It cuts down the response time quite a bit, and which I think is important, especially when you're looking at how broad the county is in the rural areas.
Let us have our vote. Deborah,
Yes.
Shauna,
No.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee.
No,
I'm a no. I think that's 3-3. Centerline Fitness, number 274. 2023 operating costs, classroom flooring, scrubber machine, and improved signage for Centerline Martial Arts. Discussion. Let's vote. Deborah,
No.
Shauna,
No.
Veronica,
No.
Ann,
No.
Lee.
no,
And I'm a no, that's 0-6. Number 289, Friends of Ithaca Farmers Market, expansion of Ithaca Farmers Market reusable dish program, a zero waste initiative for climate and environmental sustainability. Discussion. Ann,
So this, of course, helps divert, or not divert, but reduce materials that go to the landfill, reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. And so this is a program that's been going on for a while. And so I'm am going to vote yes, but I would only vote yes later on if they would accept a much smaller amount.
I'm going to speak to this one. I'm going to vote no on this one. I'm voting, I think there's two other farmers markets projects that I'm voting yes on. I struggled a little bit with when we got all these applications, looking through them, all the businesses that applied, the individual businesses, they were certainly eligible to do it. It's part of the guidelines. But, again, I looked at it through a transformative lens. And where I settled on was things like the farmers market and the Downtown Ithaca Alliance. There's some programs through there that are going to touch a lot of businesses all at once rather than one business at a time. So I just wanted to explain a little bit about how I was thinking about some of the businesses. But there are two other Ithaca Farmers Market proposals that I'm voting for, but I'm going to vote against this particular one. Anybody, any other discussion? Let us vote. Deborah,
Yes.
Shauna,
No.
Veronica,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
No,
and I'm a no. I believe that's 2-4. Number 170, Buffalo Street Books revitalization and expanded community outreach. Discussion. Let's vote. Deborah,
No.
Shauna,
No.
Veronica,
No.
Ann,
No.
Lee,
no,
and I'm a no. That's 0-6. Number 179, One World Market Recovery Plan. Discussion. Hey, Deborah,
No.
Shauna,
No.
Veronica,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
no,
and I'm a no. That's 1-5. Number 345, the History Center in Tompkins County, restore historical education. Discussion. Okay, let's vote. Deborah,
No.
Shauna,
No.
Veronica,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
no,
I'm a no. That's 1-5. Ithaca Waldorf School, number 136, financial hardship mitigation for Ithaca Waldorf School for 2022, 2023. Discussion. Deborah,
No.
Shauna,
Yes.
Veronica,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
no,
and I'm a no, but I missed the count in there. What was that one?
It's 2-4.
2-4. Okay, thank you. Number 151, Teachable Moments Daycare operating costs.
So I had a question about this
Go ahead.
that maybe Tracy can help with. In this summary chart we got, it indicated that they would use these funds to cover the business portion of their mortgage payments for 44 months. And by my calculation, that would take us past 12/31/26, would it not? And don't we have to spend all the ARPA funds by the end of 2026?
Yes, you do. Let me just pull up their application. 151. So typically when we were looking at the timeline, we were looking at the where they indicated the project timeline, they indicated June 1st, 2026. Let me just see here. The application itself doesn't reference 44 months as far as I can tell, so maybe that was that was part of the metrics, it looks like. So perhaps there was let's see. Oh, so that would be 3.5 years, so that would go out to about June of 2026. Right? From January
Oh, right.
2023 to,
Okay.
yeah,
So they would be in the deadline,
yeah.
which
Yeah.
shows that you should not do math when you're tired.
No, math is hard.
It really is. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Ready to vote on this one? This is the Teachable Moments Daycare. Okay, Deborah,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Veronica,
No.
and we're on Teachable Moments Daycare.
Yes.
Lee,
No,
I'll go with yes, but I missed the count.
4-2.
4 to 2.
4-2, okay. Number 223, Shortstop Deli. Shortstop Deli revitalization. Discussion. Deborah,
No.
Shauna,
No.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
No,
and I'm a no. That's 2-4. Number 332, Town of Ithaca, Pedestrian and Bicyclist Safety Corridor Project, East Shore Drive. Discussion. Shauna.
So I actually think this is a really good project. There have been quite a few accidents along that East Shore Drive because there are kids that are walking to go to the middle school and the high school, and there is absolutely no safe path for them to get from East Shore over to those destinations. So I would really like to see this funded.
Ann.
I concur. I'll never forget, like the first time driving down that road years ago, coming like from Ithaca area. And like all of a sudden, and the way the road is curved and all of a sudden coming upon kids and going, oh, I had no idea. So it's scary. And I've had that same experience ever since, that it's a really scary area.
Okay, let us vote. Deborah.
Veronica had her hand up.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, it wasn't important. It just, yeah, from my personal experience, it's also bad to bike through. I've heard like various transportation advocates talking about like that one little
Right.
spot, like,
Yeah.
I bike through it, but it's navigating cars coming on and off a highway. I wouldn't love to send children of the age of the school right there through it.
I don't even like driving on it, but that's a whole other story.
Okay, let us vote. Deborah.
Yes.
Shauna.
Yes.
Veronica.
Yes.
Ann.
Yes.
Lee.
yes.
And I'm a yes too. I think that was 6, right? Okay, we're on the next page. So I wanted to ask you, we have 30 minutes left in our scheduled time. We have 34 or so applications left. Can we make a sprint for the finish line?
Yes, but I do have to really leave at 1 to
Okay.
get to my other job.
I'm just wondering if that then doesn't leave us time to talk about what we're going to do next Monday.
Well, okay, thank you. One thing we're going to do next Monday is vote on the last tranche, which is 100 and some odd. Also, it's going to take a bulk.
Get as much done as.
And then
Or about
next,
100, maybe.
so
it's
we'll
not.
go through that plus then figure out the next steps if we have
Yeah.
time
Yeah,
at the next meeting. Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to know time as you've heard. Thank you.
very good. Clerks, finger shaking. We're good. Everybody's good. One last sprint. Application number 149, YMCA of Ithaca and Tompkins County, universal locker room renovation and pool repair. Discussion. We're going to change order on the voting. Lee,
No,
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
No.
Shauna,
No.
Deborah,
No.
and I'm a no. That's 1-5. Number 369, Ithaca Honeyworks, agritourism, resiliency and relief for family-owned small farm operation. Discussion? Let us vote. Lee?
No.
Ann?
Yes, save the bees.
Veronica?
No.
Donna?
No.
Deborah?
No.
And I'm a no. That's 1-5. Number 326, Finger Lakes Grassroots Festival of Music and Dance, Grassroots Festival Across the Way Music Park, Infrastructure Development. Discussion. Lee,
no,
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
No.
Shauna,
No.
Deborah,
No.
and I'm a no. That's 1-5. Application 255, Opera Ithaca, Ithaca Performing Arts Coalition Workforce Development Fellowship. Discussion. Lee,
no,
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
No.
Deborah,
No.
and I'm a no. That's 2-4. Number 361, Downtown Ithaca Alliance, Downtown Ithaca COVID Recovery Small Business Grant Program. Discussion.
I'll just add really quickly, I have not supported a lot of the small business, and this is going to be the way that I show support for small business through COVID recovery. So I am going to support this.
Exact same for me. This covers a lot of businesses at once. Okay, let's vote. Lee,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
No.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. That's 5-1.
Excuse me, similar to the micro enterprise one, we'll want to
Yeah.
talk about how this fits in with other grant programs the county has when we get to that point.
Okay, that's the Joan discussion pile.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. This is what we need to do. We need to
We've
get,
still got a lot of narrowing to do, Joan, so any
I know.
perspective helps us.
Totally right.
it's good. It's all good. It really is. Number 217, Adrena Dietra Luxury Lingerie and Apothecary Goods. AD in-house manufacturing. AD, oh, that's their business name. In-house manufacturing. Now I got it. Discussion. Lee,
No.
Ann,
No.
Veronica,
No.
Shauna,
No.
Deborah,
No.
and I'm a no. That's 0-6.
We all hate lingerie.
Never thought I'd say lingerie at a
Well-
legislature meeting.
Never mind. Let's move on.
Let's move on. 132, Nine Rivers Osteopathy. I don't know how you say that.
Yep.
Tompkins County Better Breath Project. Discussion. Lee,
No.
Ann,
No.
yeah, Veronica,
No.
Anna?
No.
Deborah?
No.
And I'm a no. That's 0-6. Number 191, Sunny Days of Ithaca. Connectivity. Discussion? Lee,
No.
Ann,
No.
Veronica,
No.
Shauna?
No.
Deborah?
No.
And I'm a no. That's 0-6. 199, South Hill School Age Program. South Hill After School Program Capital Enhancements. Discussion.
Does anybody know offhand? A quick summary?
Well,
Or is it for a roof, for instance?
It's in the, one of the versions of this we got. It's operating costs, salaries and field trip costs, and renovation of a multi-use area to provide more enriching outdoor programming for children. Multi-use area upgrades will include addition of disc golf course, apple trees, garden, and an unspecified outdoor structure.
I'm going to vote yes. One of the reasons because of the low threshold of the minimal request, which is $2,500.
I actually wanted to ask about that because I don't I looked in the application because that seemed very low and I don't see what 2,500 would get. And I'm wondering if it's a typo because they listed 25,000 as construction costs, but I'll look to Tracy.
So we don't want too much discussion, just we're looking to see if it's a typo.
Yeah, I mean, the application itself says $2,500.
Okay.
2500.
I think to me, what that says to me is any amount will help, that they have other funding, hopefully,
Okay,
and if they
25
don't get that
applications.
other funding for projects like this, then they can't use ours. So that money might be coming back.
Okay, you've changed my mind, Ann. Any other discussion? Lee,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
and I'll be a yes. That's 5-1. Number 240, Tompkins County Workers Center, Workers' Rights Hotline, Organizing and Living Wage Work. Discussion. Veronica.
Just to my knowledge, the Worker Center is pretty one of a kind in terms of trying to provide a physical and personnel hub for workers trying to organize, and which is we know there's been a lot of unionizing struggles and labor struggles in our community. So I do think I'm going to vote for this because I think it's important and serves the whole county pretty uniquely, and the request amount is small
Okay,
for this tranche.
Ann?
And it's often difficult for them to find funding. They are constantly trying to find funding. This has to do with living wage, which is one of our priorities, and helping people, not just in addition to what Veronica said, people that are having issues at their workplace, whether they belong in a union or not. A lot of times you can't go to your union for whatever reason, but a lot of people aren't in unions, and they go help them with issues they're having.
Okay, ready to vote? Lee?
No.
Ann?
Yes.
Veronica?
Yes.
Shauna?
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes.
I'm voting no. It's 4-2. Number 253, Hangar Theater, mitigation of financial hardship. Discussion. Okay, Lee?
No.
Ann?
Yes.
Veronica?
No.
Shauna?
No.
Deborah?
No.
And I'm a no. I think that's 1-5. Okay. Number 222, Tompkins Community Action, Building Healthy Community Facilities. Discussion. I need just a moment, please. Okay, ready to vote? Lee?
No.
Ann?
Yes.
Veronica?
No.
Shauna?
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes.
I'll be yes. That's 4-2. Ithaca Beer Company, number 107, new tap room, 409 College Avenue. Discussion. Lee,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
No.
Shauna.
No.
Deborah.
No.
And I'm a no. That's 1-5. Number 331, Village of Dryden. Number 2, Greater Dryden Area Dog Park. Discussion. Ready to vote? Lee,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
No.
Shauna.
No.
Deborah.
No.
And I'm a no. That's 1-5. Number 340, Nothing Nowhere, Nothing Nowhere Here. Discussion. Lee,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
No.
Shauna.
No.
Deborah.
No.
And I'm a no. That's 1-5. 268, Village of Trumansburg, Comprehensive Stormwater Management Plan. Discussion. Ann.
Yes, again, similar to what I said before, I mean, this is, they have a lot of different needs in the Trumansburg Village. So they looked at our programs, and they picked one. They could have asked for a lot of different things. And it's really expensive to deal with the stormwater issues. There's issues with different municipalities, trying to figure out how to fund these. And so they really boiled it down to just one. I actually encouraged them to put in several if they wanted to, but they boiled it down to just one. So in other words, they put all their eggs in their basket, and I think it's a really good use of our funds.
So just, I have a clarification because you're saying this is the only one from the Village of Trumansburg.
Mhm.
I think there was at least one other grant that is geographically in the Village of Trumansburg. Is
Sure.
that true? I'm just asking. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other discussion?
I'm going to vote in consistency with what I've done before on these municipal projects.
We opened it up for municipalities. I just want to say that was.
They are eligible. Yeah.
We talked about that, and we agreed that they could.
That's why they're here. That's why they're on the list.
Right.
That's not the problem. The problem is this something that there is money for from other grant programs and sources? You know, I think that was Lee's point, you know, with
Wait.
all the
No, that-
infrastructure and
There might be for instance, right now, looking more towards things of like their water supply system, which has a lot of needs. They're similar to Ithaca, where they're I'm getting alerts all the time, a break here, a water main break there. This is something different that is really difficult to figure out how to fund it, again, because it crosses different municipalities and private properties.
We're ready to vote. Lee?
No.
Ann?
Yes.
Veronica?
Yes.
Shauna?
No.
Deborah?
Yes.
I'm a no, that's 3-3. Number 102, Paleontological Research Institute, PRI, Geothermal Energy Project. Discussion. Okay, Lee?
No.
Ann?
No.
Veronica?
No.
Shauna?
No.
Deborah? And I'm a no, that's 0-6. Town of Enfield, number 142, Communication Radios for the Highway Department. Discussion. Lee, I look to you for some radio advice. Can you say anything about this, how it fits in with the countywide, if you know, if you don't know, that's fine. The countywide radio interoperational, blah-de-blah-blah.
It's always been encouraged for the highway departments when they, you know, change out the radio systems to join into the county system. Some have, some haven't, and but it's the same thing. If we fund one, we're probably going to be requested to fund others.
Okay, let us vote. Ann?
Just in addition to what Lee said there, this is different. Recovery funds is different than, you know, I think it's a different pot of money for sure than, say, an OTR in our budget line. So I think we have a lot of discretion here. And overall, they're going to need, you know, we need to have a comprehensive plan, just like we need for broadband and storm. And so anytime we can, a little bit of money will help fix the problem. And this is talking about emergency communications. And so I'm going to vote for it.
All right, let us vote. Lee?
No.
Ann?
Yes.
Veronica?
No.
Shauna?
No.
Deborah?
No.
I'm a no also. That is 1-5, I think. 357, Ithaca Sheepskin, bringing the Ithaca Sheepskin experience online. Discussion. Let us vote. Lee?
No.
Ann?
No.
Veronica?
No.
Shauna?
No.
Deborah?
No.
And I'm a no, that's 0-6. 228, Rasa Spa Relief. Discussion. Okay, let us vote. Lee?
No.
Ann?
Yes.
Veronica?
No.
Shauna?
No.
Deborah?
No.
I'm a no, that's 1-5. Number 316, Rogues Harbor Inn. Add private bathroom for 3. Currently has a shared, for room 3, currently has a shared bathroom. Discussion. Lee?
No.
Ann?
No.
Veronica?
No.
Shauna?
No.
Deborah?
No.
And I'm a no, that's 0-6. Number 364, Marvel and Rosen LLC, Ithaca's Mechanical Flipbook Studio. Discussion. Let us vote. Lee?
No.
Ann?
No.
Veronica?
No.
Shauna?
No.
Deborah?
No.
And I'm a no, that's 0-6. Number 288, Sammy's Pizzeria and Restaurant, Small Business Survival. Discussion. Okay, Lee?
No.
Ann?
Yes.
Veronica?
No.
Shauna?
No.
Deborah?
No.
And I'm a no, that's 1-5. Number 287, Copper House Coffee, Wholesale Trade Business Pandemic Recovery. Discussion.
It's Copper Horse, not House.
You. Let us vote. Lee?
No.
Ann?
Yes.
Veronica?
No.
Donna?
No.
Deborah?
No.
And I'm a no. That's 1-5, right? Okay, Cinemapolis, number 173, mitigate Cinemapolis financial hardship. Discussion. Lee?
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
No.
Anna?
No.
Deborah?
No.
I'm a no, that's 1-5. Varna Community Association, number 205, restoring and expanding community services in Varna. Discussion. I'm planning on voting for this one. That's my discussion. Lee?
No.
Ann?
Yes.
Veronica?
No.
Shauna?
No.
Deborah?
No.
And I'm a yes, that's 2-4. Number 121, Steve Varnaz, DBA Little Venice, small business, Little Venice. Discussion. Lee,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
No.
Anna?
No.
Deborah?
No.
And I'm a no, that is 1-5. Flipping the page, we're going to switch voting directions. We're shaking our fingers, rubbing our eyes, and sprinting to the home stretch here. Number 207, Town of Enfield. Number 2, Main Street revitalization of municipal buildings. Discussion. Deborah,
No.
Shauna, Veronica,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee?
No.
And I'm a no, that's 1-5. Number 282, Groton Community Health Center, boiler project.
You need to point something out here. I've been chairman of the board of this Community Healthcare Center Corporation for 20 plus years, and I will absolutely abstain from this. I'm not sure how the alignment came about. I did not help with the application because I think it would have aligned had I done so, but it's the only project that's in District 9 that I'm aware of, and they're a big safety net for our Medicaid long-term care residents, and there wasn't any organization in that whole area of the county that was more badly impacted by COVID, but I've said more than I probably should.
So Lee, let me ask you something. You are, am I correct? You're an unpaid board chair or whatever the title is. Yeah. You're not required to abstain. If you want to abstain, you
You know,
can.
I'm just too involved in the operation, and I really intend to abstain.
Problems. Okay. Ann,
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Shauna?
No.
Deborah?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, that's 4-1. 256, Covered Bridge Market, Bridge to the Future, Economic Recovery and Energy Efficiency Improvements for Newfield's Covered Bridge Market. Discussion. Ann?
Just want to say this is kind of like a community hub. I think probably a lot of people have been there, so it's a lot of gathering. A lot of kids go there after school. It's right adjacent to the school. A lot of kids go there and hang out, and they're not big on making sure you buy something. You can literally just go there, and community has meetings there. Almost half of the spaces you can just hang out there. So it's for youth and for all ages. Seniors, a lot of seniors go there and have coffee and hang out, and community meetings happen there.
Very good. Let us vote. Deborah? Shauna?
No.
Veronica?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Lee?
No.
And I'm a no, that's 2-4. Number 318, Citizens Concern for Children, CCC. CCC Incorporated 2022-2023 Mission Critical Technology Revitalization Project. Discussion. Okay, Deborah.
No.
Shauna?
No.
Veronica?
No.
Ann?
Yes.
Lee?
No.
And I'm a no, that's 1-5. Number 367, Town of Ithaca. Number 2, design option analysis and construction drawings preparation for the town hall lighting and weatherization renovation project. Discussion. I need one moment, please. let us vote. Deborah,
No.
Shauna,
No.
Veronica,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
No,
and I'm a no. That is 1-5. 133 Ithaca Community Radio, WRFI, generating informed resiliency. Discussion. Deborah,
No.
Shauna,
No.
Veronica,
No.
Ann,
Yes.
Lee,
no,
and I'm a no. I think that's 1-5. And last and not least, Town of Enfield, number 208, Town of Enfield, number 3, Highway Department Cold Storage Building. Discussion. Deborah.
No.
Shauna.
No.
Veronica.
No.
Ann.
Yes.
Lee.
no.
And I'm no, that is 1-5. All right. I want to congratulate on us. I did have faith that this was the right amount of time to get through this, and we did it. We already discussed a little bit. The next time we'll have another tranche. I would like to ask MRB if you have any thoughts about what you're going to be able to do with the information that was generated today. If sort of number, we haven't really discussed this in advance. So if you're not prepared to talk about it, that's fine. What kind of number crunching you can do with this and prioritizations and groupings and that sort of thing. So again, we haven't discussed this in advance. So if you don't have a good answer right now, I'm totally okay with that.
So we'll sort through these and probably send out a revised scoring sheet that shows you like the yeses and the partials. Or at least sorts them in some way, shape, or form, and we can do some preliminary calculations, although we'll need to discuss what those are actually going to look like. And then if it does help, you know, when you do get to the point of talking about the actual amounts that you want to award, we will be able to do some live calculations of that, as Shauna had talked about with how some of the other organizations work. So that will help to move that conversation along too. But I think in the next, either today or tomorrow, we'll be able to get you a full set of documents, including some resorted scoring sheets for your next conversation.
Lee?
Could you remind us before we exit here, on the next tranche, how many applications are there?
69.
69, and they total how much for how much we set aside?
About $1 million.
1,476,000.
And you set aside 500,000.
Okay, so if we were to stay within that amount, we've got to cut 1.4 million to 500,000.
1.4 million is the total requested,
Cut about 66, 2/3.
about $1 million.
Okay,
Not as bad as the 80% we've been operating on.
well, no,
Okay, and let's see, I had asked the clerks beforehand about keeping track of the yeses, nos and stuff, but I'm just realizing that MRB, I think you've kept track of that info too.
Yes, but it would probably be good to get theirs just so that we can triangulate the information and make sure that we've got everything correct.
We're gonna get that later in the week. We have a very busy week here, as you do, I'm sure. So eventually that'll happen. Okay, and then I wanted to say, no decisions by any stretch, but we do, we are going to get all this other information and all this other, other ways to look at it and sort after we go through the rest of the voting. And we're still going to have to do some narrowing. And so I just want to say that I'm definitely open to other possibilities after that. We could go through another round of voting. That might be one way to do it. Or we could do something as Shauna described the other day, something on that version. And MRB also has a version of that. We could say we're going to just look at the top 20 that we voted on, or each of us could put our top 20 or our top 30 and narrow it down that way. Like that is one way we could sort through it. There are probably other ways as well. I will also be open, I am personally open to something like, I don't know exactly what it would look like yet, but a subset of us that are willing to do it, and I don't even feel like I need to be on it, to really dig into what we've said yes to and to start looking at partials and to potentially put together a package of recommendations that fits within the income and present that to this whole committee as a package. And I can't say 100% sure, but I think I would be willing to accept that. Like, even if there's a whole bunch of stuff in there that I didn't, I'd rather see otherwise. So I know that maybe that didn't make a lot of sense to everybody, but all I'm saying is this, is that when we get through all our voting, there are a whole bunch of different ways we can proceed. We can vote again. We can do some kind of ranked choice or smaller subsets, or we could do a group of us preparing a package as a recommendation. And maybe there are even other ways as well. And I personally am open to all of those ways. And maybe some of those ways will be more obvious to us when we see what dollar figure we're at, what we need to still cut.
If I could, I think maybe we should treat the different tranches differently, depending.
We may, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we might want to wait and see what we end up with numbers before we decide how.
Definitely want to wait. Yeah. I really feel like we'll have a lot more information at that point. And I'm just saying, I'm just thinking one step beyond that. There are a lot of choices. Personally, I'm open to all of them, and I want you to start thinking if there's some part of that doesn't sound good or one sounds better than the other, et cetera. Anne.
I think it was Tracy that said might be able to get, or figure out the financials on like some type of spreadsheet, running spreadsheet. So if we get that, I would just make sure that we have time, that we get that, for instance, with the agenda the week before any meeting. If, for instance, secondly, I want to make sure we had talked about yesterday, for full transparency, that to somehow, I don't know if it's through here or through MRB, but to publish the scoring that we've all gone through. And that was in our program guidelines, that we would make that public. So I'm just wondering how we can do that.
Let's pause there for a minute to talk to the clerks. How can we make this, the information we've been looking at, more public? It really hasn't, can we post it on as part of an agenda packet? Like, I'm open to thoughts, or the minutes. I mean, I'm not sure how to do this.
Are you talking about these spreadsheets that we have in front of us?
Some
Right.
of them, yes, except for the confidential one, obviously.
We probably could add that to our meeting portal as an attachment that could be viewable from a link.
How about to the recovery site, to our webpage on the recovery page, the grants? Can we add it there? Because might be where people, easy place to look.
Or is it too late to put in the agenda packet for this coming Monday's Recovery Fund Committee meeting? Is that
No, we could add the spreadsheets to the agenda packets for Monday's meeting. And then they would be available through the meeting portal.
Okay, so soon I would like them someplace like on the recovery page, because that's where everything is located.
Who maintains that
I don't
website?
know.
I'm not sure.
County admin.
Okay.
Lisa, you got that request? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so are we going to have this information, the running tallies, is that going to be available for next meeting on Monday, or is that in the future after that, do we think?
It's going to be available later this week. That's what we were told. Is that correct, Tracy?
Yeah, we're gonna work on this today and tomorrow and hopefully get everything to you tomorrow.
Can things be sent, just so it's not just on you having to forward it to us? Can it be sent also to the legislature clerks when you have things, so that it gets to us, make sure it gets to us quicker?
I will make sure that gets distributed to you this time, right on time. I'll take responsibility for that.
Thank you.
I'm going to throw out one more thing to consider today as we wrap up on our last minute or whatever. It really does look like we're going to need at least one more meeting, right? So my guess, and this is open to other input, is that next meeting, we're going to continue that voting, and then we're going to, begin a little more discussion, but we're going to need one more, I think, to make our final packet of recommendations. Did most people think that is a true statement?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't see any way around it.
Yeah. Okay. So at some point in later this very busy week or next week, we will start working on scheduling for one more meeting which will of course be after Thanksgiving, and we'll just figure it out. Is that going to work?
Sounds good.
I would maybe ask that the committee make that decision on Monday at your next meeting,
Okay.
because we have a couple other meetings that are being scheduled for this room that we don't have confirmed dates yet.
Okay. So I think I've got it, but if I don't on Monday, that is part of our agenda, right? Is to make one more meeting.
Bring your calendar.
Bring your calendars, but either that or at least start a doodle poll type thing.
I think what they're saying is with the amount of work that they have, seems like we could, and I've done that before at committee meetings. You decide right then, you have everybody there, you decide when it is, just for efficiency.
Well, we will, that is part of our next Monday's agenda, is
All right.
probably to set one more meeting, and we'll figure out then. So yes, please do bring your calendars. Anything else for today? That was a lot of ground. I want to thank everyone. Kathy?
I just want to, so are we sending the spreadsheets out with the agenda for next Monday's meeting?
Yes, please. So that would be the scoring spreadsheet, and help me out if I'm wrong here. For
The spreadsheets that we were referencing today?
And we were also referencing the applications, so can that go out?
the public version of the application packet,
Because I don't think the stuff that I looked up I don't think it included confidential information.
right, there was something that was sent to us 1 to 2 weeks ago that had a confidential version and a non-confidential version. And if I'm getting this right, tell me, so we
The
want the
stuff we were
we want the
given
non-confidential.
was saying all confidential, but it's not. It's not, I mean, it was confidential to us because I think it wasn't out in the public. Like, so even these were,
No, there's
like-
things in there that are confidential, like employee identification numbers and.
yeah, that is like uber confidential, right? I'm just saying some of this went out and said it was confidential for now. But yes, so can everything go out that's not confidential? Private financial information for those organizations.
Kathy, I'll touch base with you again. I'll make sure you have
Okay.
all the documents that I hope you
These
trust me.
other sheets that's, that we had, not with the scoring.
Yes.
Can those sheets plus the scoring sheets that we got go out?
Believe I understand you completely, and
Okay.
I'll make sure that they get those documents and they'll be attached.
Because this is what I'm saying. It said confidential, but I think we can make it not confidential.
So the confidential version has the link to all the documents, which does in some cases include EINs, which is why that particular sheet is confidential. The public version just doesn't have those links, but it's the same information otherwise. So that's the difference between the two.
That's what's going to go out as the public version.
Great.
Already been screened. Yep. Okay. Anything else for today? I want to thank everybody again for an unusual amount of concentration required in a long meeting. So the meeting is adjourned. See you next time. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.